I don't have a good segue for this. The new Duke.
The new Duke. All right, so I'm being yelled at. Let me rephrase that. I find myself in a situation in which I am being vigorously encouraged.
Yes.
To unpack these ancient boxes that have come from many places, including my old Microsoft Office that I've never opened before. I start opening them all. And in one of them, I find one of the Dukes that I took around to Japan and got hammered with. And I'm recalling this and thinking, I should take a funny picture of this. I'll get my 12-year-old to hold the controller with his little hands, and I'll make some jokes about Duke. So I do that, and I start making some jokes about Duke, and suddenly, this tweet is one of these things that gets, like 80,000 impressions or something, and hundreds and hundreds of responses. We love the Duke. We love the Duke. And I'm thinking, you love the Duke? Screw you. Where the hell were you when I was getting golf balls thrown at me? Love the Duke. I don't believe it. So I gave some crap back, but people really did love it. It started to get to the point where I was feeling like I was insulting people who genuinely love this thing.
Well, they associate it with wonderful memories.
I think so, yeah. And that's and I was very honest the whole time about the fact that I hate the thing. But wow, they really love it. And one of my Twitter followers said, you should reissue it. This guy's special ed. And I said, okay, well, should I reissue it? Boom, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, or 1.5 million impressions. I can't remember what. And thousands of replies and all these things. It's oh my God, to the point that Phil is DMing me on Twitter saying, damn. And I said, all right, well, could we, is there any way we could get the IP? Because Microsoft has never given the Microsoft logo
to
a third party.
That. You don't own this,
or the shape. Yeah. And it was funny too, because gamers think I own all this stuff, which is great. I wish that was legal, but I don't. And so Phil arranged for me to get control of the IP to do this reissue. And we found Hyperkin, who were a third-party hardware manufacturer in good standing, who had actually proposed something like this before. And now is the time, right? This is my old MySpace, Friendster, Facebook thing. Now is the right time. And so there you go, it happened. And honestly, now that you know a little bit more about the story, the opportunity to bookend such a painful thing that I saw as such a failure at the time with something as cool as the relaunch of this controller is really great, because it means that it ends up having a happy ending, which is important, right?
So if we can come in on the close shot of the new Duke, this I don't mean to tease people. You can't buy the green one. This was you guys did a very short run of these. It's going to be the regular black one. That came with every original Xbox. But the far and away the best feature, which I would love you to speak to here, Seamus, is you can turn it on this way, but you can just push this anytime you want, and you get the original Xbox boot up sequence, that's awesome. That is the signature touch that makes this, I think, because it's like a dopamine hit of nostalgia.
It is good. It's a good thing. Yeah, and that was
whose idea was that?
That was me. That was. I felt that in order, and again, this might just be my insecurity from the history of the thing. I felt there had to be something else about the reissue that would make it feel more modern and more special. And I had always felt, as a fan of the VMU, the Sega VMU,
that
I always wanted the Xbox controller to have a VMU, and so this sort of addresses that itch also. So. As soon as Phil said that, I sat at my dining room table, and I got an X-Acto knife and I started carving out the jewel of one of these controllers that I had, and I got it in there. And I have in my day job, I'm the CEO of a big physics laboratory, and so we have a lot of equipment. And so I got an OLED display and I mounted it in there so that it was the same size as the Xbox foil that sits inside the normal jewel, and I put the jewel back over it. And then I recorded the boot up from an Xbox, and I put it on there. And then I did something evil, which was the first of a few times I did this with the Duke, which is that I just went ahead and posted it on Twitter so that everybody would think.
You're really painting Phil Spencer into a corner on this one.
But it was all right. That wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard. And he was pretty psyched about it also. But it is. I'm telling you that the value, and this is a thing that's I think really important to be said. The value of just doing something is so important. I mean, that's why there's an Xbox, and everything we talked about today that I've ever done, and anything else that I've ever known anybody, musicians and artists, everybody ever done. So they just sit down and do it. It's really easy in life to get into the habit of waiting until you have permission, or waiting until you have the budget, or waiting until you have the money, or waiting until something's going to happen before you do something. You just do it. So I just sat at my kitchen table and I just carved out the jewel and put the OLED in, and look, it worked. And so remember that. Just go ahead and do the thing that you want to do. And it may not be perfect, or it may not be the final one, or it may not have all the polish you want, but you're doing it. And the only way to get the money and get the permission and get the situation that you want is to show everybody that you really do intend to do the thing that you're doing and that you can do it. Keep it in mind.
I love that. Will that screen be used for anything else?
I have no comment. I have no comment.
No comment?
No
This is an
comment.
interview show.
Wouldn't it be a terrible shame if a full-color OLED display in a controller was only used to play a 30-year-old animation? It's not 30 years old, but it's an old animation. Wouldn't that be terrible?
It would be a little terrible.
Terrible thing. Terrible thing.
Yeah. You have you rattled off some friends, Tim Schafer's of the world, that you just maybe they can with their games put something cool in there.
Does Tim do animation and stuff?
He might have a game development studio that might be able to help with that.
Yeah, so we'll see on that. We'll see what the future.
Maybe Raz could dance around in there on Psychonauts 2.
That would be very, very, very cool.
Be cool.
Yeah, the boy who ran away from school to join the circus.
Yes. So what it sounds like Phil Spencer was pretty...
No, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. Sorry. Raz, the boy who ran away from the circus to join a school.
Right.
God. Anyway.
Tim, you almost got a DM from Tim on that one.
For sure, yeah. Okay.
Sounds like Phil was pretty enthusiastic about it. Was it tough to get sign off? Like, did the buck stop with Phil, or did a bunch of lawyers have to get involved?
Phil has the same problem that everybody does running a big organization like that, which is that you can't be Caesar and just tell everybody what to do and off with their heads if they don't do it, right? Your guys can't feel totally powerless. So you need to just say, I think this is a good idea. What do you think? I really believe in this. And all you're really telling them is, if you think it's cool, you're not going to get in trouble doing it. But if you don't think it's cool, I can't force you to do it, right?
Yeah.
And so really, this is an example of a whole string of guys inside of the Xbox organization thinking that it's cool, at the end of the day.
Good.
Because Phil's not the kind of manager who goes around shooting people or whipping them to make them do stuff. And so it worked out pretty easily.
One thing I do want to ask you about the controller, these new shoulder buttons, these left and right bumper buttons that were added up here.
Love them or hate them.
I'm sort of curious why they're there. I neither love them nor hate them, because you're replicating the black and white buttons. So what was that did the Xbox team come back with that as like a compromise, or did you want to put those on there?
We and the Xbox team wanted to be sure that you could play modern games with it.
Yeah.
And to play modern games, you can't play modern games without bumpers. So
you do but you got the black and white button. Even your own controller, you're like, really?
No one's thumb can get to the black and white button. You know that. I know that. You all know that.
It's my job to ask. I have to ask these questions.
I understand that. All right, it's journalism. You've done a great job. Well done.
Oh yeah.
Well done.
Well, so the last thing I want to ask you is just what's keeping you busy these days? Because it does seem like, I follow you on Twitter, I check in with you, and it seems like you've always got an interesting project going on in some medium or thing of another. So
yeah, well, there have been a few secret things that have gone over the last couple of years, and it's frustrating. I can't say much about them, but we just have closed funding, a big venture deal for a new company.
Excellent.
And it's based on a really interesting and cool breakthrough in computational electrodynamics, and you'll be hearing more soon.
Interesting. I am eager to hear more.
There you go.
So I'll let you go, but the new Duke. By the way, actually, you know what? One more. Where did the Duke name start at Microsoft?
Or the Duke name started at Microsoft. So Brett Schnepf was the product manager from Hardware, who ended up being in charge of the Duke.
Yeah.
Okay. His son is called Duke, so he named after his son.
Nice.
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's cool. Glad to get
and
that.
Brett's
story.
an awesome guy, so it's actually a great story.
Excellent. Well, the new Duke can be had by the time this interview airs. It's out now. It is
I hope you like it.
$70, right? $69.99. And it's, I guess, hyperkin.com.
Hyperkin.com.
Is the place to get it.
Or GameStop.
Or GameStop. You Twitter bullied them into carrying it.
I Twitter bullied GameStop. I love you, GameStop. I'm sorry.
And they've moved at a brisk pace.
They have moved at a brisk pace. Yes, they have sold out in pre-orders a couple times.
So yeah, you had a pre-order run. It's done well. Will they be available for a while, or is it going to be kind of a limited run and then they're gone?
No, our intention is to make them available for a while.
Excellent.
If I can end the story,
yes,
with the next Xbox exclusively using the Duke controller, my work would be complete.
you can call it a career at that
sure,
point.
I'm not sure that that's likely, but that would be pretty great.
Seamus Blackley, thank you so much. It's always great to see you. Seamus Blackley, the creator of the original Xbox, the instigator of the new Duke.
The ringleader of an outspoken minority.
Yes. Also a physicist, Renaissance man, game designer. He's done it all. Looking forward to seeing what you get up to next. Seamus, thank you so much. For more from the best, brightest, most fascinating minds in the games industry, be sure to check back every month for a new episode of IGN Unfiltered. You can find it on IGN, on YouTube, or on your favorite podcast service. I'm Ryan McCaffrey, and I will see you next time.